Hello and good morning to all my dear students and all the viewers who will be watching this video. And today's session is a continuation to the evaluation methods of training. So we have discussed Kirkpatrick's model of training. We have discussed how there are four steps in this evaluation method of training. So we had the 4 steps in the Kirkpatrick's model. The next model that we are going to discuss is the Kaufman's learning and evaluation method. So here all these models, the models are trying to give us an idea about how a training can be evaluated. So instead of providing an entirely new framework, Kaufman model aims to improve the commonly used Kirkpatrick's 4 levels. So we are already aware that Kirkpatrick's model is one of the more widely accepted, the most used model for training evaluation of training programs. So Kaufman's model is nothing new that has come up, but Kaufman's model is, it's an improvisation of the Kirkpatrick's model, which are in 4 levels. So the allegedly improved versions introduces some additional consideration by seemingly divided Kirkpatrick's model. So Kirkpatrick's model level 1 into 2 and adding a 5th level. So the first level so let's go. The first level of Kirkpatrick's model was reaction. So in Kaufman's model, what Kaufman has done is he has divided the first level into 2 parts, and hence we have a 5th level because of this division. The levels are the respective questions and considerations for modern L&D professionals that go as following. So in Kaufman's model of training evaluation, we have 5 levels. We need to understand that Kaufman's model is not something new, but it's an improvisation on Kirkpatrick's model that was already there. So and hence what Kaufman has done is Kaufman has divided the first step of the Kirkpatrick's model, and because of that division of the first step, there are 5 levels now according to Kaufman's model of training evaluation. The first we have is input. So what kind of sources and learning materials do we have at our disposal that we can use to support the learning experience? So input. So by input we understand what are we going to offer to the trainees that would be attending the training. So what are the tools that we are going to use? What are the methods that we are going to use, the technology that we are going to use, the kind of environment that is there for the training to be conducted. So in the input method, what the training evaluation is trying to do is trying to understand what the training is going to offer to the trainees, what are the resources, what are the learning materials that would be used, that is there with the learning and development team for the particular training session. So what it does is it helps the L&D team, learning and development team, to understand whether they have the adequate resource, whether they have the adequate materials, whether they have the adequate, whether they have the right kind of environment for the training to be conducted. If so, if they have the required inputs for the training session to be conducted, so it is good to go, well and good. If not, in this step itself, the learning and development team can come up with changes and introduce new resources, new learning materials that would propel, that would support learning, that will support the training to be conducted smoothly. Because the ultimate aim of the training is behavior modification. Training is short-term, training is short-term in nature, and it is aimed at improving the efficiency of the workers. So unless the workers can translate what they have learned in the training session to their respective work fields, the training would not be successful. So the first step according to Kaufman is input, and in this input what we can understand is the kind of resources we have at disposal, the kind of learning materials that we have at disposal, and whether these materials and the sources that we have are going to support the training that we are going to conduct. So it gives it lays a groundwork even before the trainees come and sit for the training session. The next is process. The second level is process. So how's the delivery of the learning experience? Is it accepted? How are people responding to it? So in the process, so to understand whether the training process is correct, or whether the training process is conducive to learning, whether the training process propels or encourages the trainees to learn, these three questions need to be answered. The first question is, how is the delivery of the learning experience? Okay, is it accepted? Is it understood and accepted by the trainees? How are people responding to it? So this three question answers the second step, that is process, according to Kaufman's training evaluation method. The third stage here is micro level results. So micro, as we all know and understand, these are finer details. These are minute details that we're talking about. So jumping right into what micro level results are. So the question that helps us understand the third stage is, did the learner or the learning group acquire the knowledge, or did they apply it onto their job? So the third level where the training is evaluated is on micro level results, like for example, whether the trainees that have attended the training were able to acquire the knowledge that we as a trainer want to share with them. Yeah? So it becomes very important. First question is whether we were able to impart the training that we intend them to learn or acquire. And the second question is whether the knowledge that they have acquired, they are able to apply it onto their job, whether they are able to exercise whatever they have learned in the training session. So this result, the third stage, answers or evaluates the training session on the basis of micro level results, where we try to understand whether whether in the training session the learners were able to acquire the knowledge that we wanted to impart, and whether they were able to apply the knowledge, apply new things that they have learned onto their workplace. The fourth stage here we have is the macro level results. So macro is a more wider in terms of its scope and understanding. So the question that helps us to understand the macro level results are: did performance improve due to this learning and application of new in the workplace? So did their performance improve because of whatever they have learned? Okay, and what kind of benefits arose from the learning on an organization level? So macro level is a wider level impact to say because of the training that was conducted. So macro level results are, it says whether the employee is able to perform his job better, whether his efficiency improved, and on a broader level whether the kind of benefit it has on the organizational level. So when these two questions are answered, the macro level results are also understood, and also the training's evaluation is understood. The fifth and the last one we have is mega level impact. So what kind of impact did the learning have on society or larger external stakeholders group? So this is fairly simple. So the level has increased now to so much to the level of society, and also there are various stakeholders. There are people who there are different stakeholders in a company. So what kind of impact did the training have upon the society and various stakeholders associated. So with this we complete Kaufman's learning evaluation method. This is the second model that we have learned about the models of training evaluation. So the next model that we have is the CIRO model. Okay, the CIRO model is, though it is not as used extensively or widely accepted like the Kirkpatrick's model, yet it helps us to understand and establish a good training evaluation method, which in turn is only going to improve our training sessions, which is going to help the trainers, the learning and development team to understand and update the training materials, the training course and everything else associated with the training and development. So the CIRO model stands for context, input, reaction and outputs. So C stands for your context, I stands for your input, R stands for your reaction and O stands for your output. So this model is completely different, or to the least is different from our Kirkpatrick's model. So the main difference between both CIRO and Kirkpatrick's model is the measurements taken before and after the training. So this is the major difference. So the measurements that are taken before the training is completed and after the training is completed, that is the major difference between the CIRO model and the Kirkpatrick's model. So some practitioners feel that this model is best suited to the training management program. So some of the people who have already adopted the CIRO model to understand or evaluate trainings that were conducted, they have come to a consensus, they have come to a common understanding that this model is best suited for training management programs. So this model is more suited for people at supervisory or managerial level. So as it does not, why? Because as it does not account behavior, rather it's not for people working at lower levels of organization. So this training, it does not it does not take into account the behavioral aspects of training. Hence it is not for people working at the lower levels of the organization. So let's deep dive into the CIRO model. So we started with we started with context evaluation. So this is all about identifying and evaluating the training needs. So the context evaluation, the first stage, there are 4 stages in CIRO model. So the first stage is context, where to understand this first step, this is all about understanding and identifying and evaluating the training needs. So this requires a lot of research. This requires a lot of inputs from both the line managers, from the HR. Together they are able to understand the training needs. So like I've already said, performance appraisal is one of the methods of understanding how well an employee is performing, and what are the areas, gray areas, where the employee can improve and improve his efficiency. So in this context, the performance appraisal that the manager provides, or the manager undertakes, also serves as a yardstick to identify the needs, the training needs for the employee. So in this context level, in this context evaluation level, the first level, what the learning and development team is trying to do is to identify and evaluate training needs. So they have there is something called the document is called performance appraisal document, and the HR also gets a copy of that document to understand to understand the training needs. So on on a wider level, they can be people who have similar needs, and those people with similar training needs can be assigned training. They can be allocated trainings together. This is how they are going to, the context is going to be developed, and this is how they are going to identify and evaluate the training needs. So the need based on collecting performance deficiency information. Okay, so performance deficiency comes out of lack in it could be behavioral, could be technical knowledge. So once the performance appraisal documents are with the HR, or the feedbacks the HR would receive from their immediate supervisor or line manager, the HR is able to understand the training needs. What training do the employee need to improve his efficiency, and hence can assign the training that is appropriate and that will help the employee to improve his or her efficiency. So so input in terms of design, planning, management and delivery, this analyzes the effectiveness of the training course. Also analyzes on organizational resources available involved, and determines how best used to achieve desired results. So in the input evaluation, it is similar to the Kaufman's first level, where the first level of Kaufman's training evaluation was input. In the same way, we also have, after understanding the training needs in the CIRO model, we have the training evaluation level, that is input, where in terms of the design of the training, when in terms of planning for the training, management and delivery of the training, this analyzes the effectiveness of the training course. So even before the training is conducted, the input methods are evaluated to understand whether whether the materials that we are going to use would be best fit for this particular training. We need to understand not all the trainings that conduct would have a similar way of delivery. There could possibly be various methods of delivery of training, and the learning and development team needs to pick the right delivery materials, the training, design the training in the right way, so that it helps it propagates learning among the trainees that would be attending the training session. The fourth level is reaction. So in order to make improvements, this help in analyzing the reaction of the delegates or the trainees. The evaluation is subjective, so there is a need for it to be collected in an objective and subjective ways as possible. So reaction in this stage would be to understand how well they have understood, whether they were able to gain the knowledge that the trainer is trying to impart, and it could be both subjective as well as objective. Subjective meaning which could differ from person to person, objective which is on the basis of scale of 1 to 5. So reaction is all about understanding whether the trainees that have attended the trainings are able to grasp whatever they have learned in the training session, and whether they were able to apply the knowledge that they have learned into their respective workplaces. So the outcome we have, the fifth stage we have is the outcome. So the evaluation of outcome is done in terms of what actually happened as a training result. So the outcomes are measured on the following 4 levels depending on the available resource and the purpose of evaluation. So the outcome is measured on these 4 levels that we have discussed already. So at ultimately what happened as a training result, what impact did it have on the trainee? Did it improve the performance level? Did it improve the organization's level, or did it impact the society? Did it impact all the stakeholders that are involved with our organization. So at the last stage, outcome stage, this is the evaluation that the CIRO model tries to establish. So we have completed all the 3 models that are there for our syllabus. The 3 models that evaluates training. So we completed your Kirkpatrick's model, the Kaufman's model, and the CIRO model. So these are the 4 levels of CIRO model. So I hope and I believe you are viewing the videos regularly. Please keep on following the videos that we are sending and the documents that we are sending across. In case you have any queries, you can always call us. And yeah, that is for the day. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.